Yes, I told you so. I mean, I've been telling them. I've been telling them for a month now, month and a half. Like, it's different. You can get all the pats on the back and all the hype and everything that you want. Preseason was great. Training camp was great. It does not matter. Obviously, I didn't play well myself, so I'll say that. Like, I'm not blaming anybody, but just like it's a different level, and you have to try to find ways to crack that level and reach that level, and we'll get there. We'll get there.
I almost throw it down to as one of those nights tonight, because I mean we did get there was a whole bunch of point-blank layups that just kept finding a way to roll off, and they were kind of spirit takers a little bit, right? We were struggling to score, and we finally make a good read and a good play, and we got one there, and it comes off, and they'd be probably landing it at the other end because we're taking a stride or two because we're dejected because we thought we had one, and you know what I mean. I thought we had a few too much of that too, where we thought we had a play there and it didn't go our way, and we were giving up an easy transition basket at the other end. I mean, can't do that, compound our mistakes like that.
It's playoff atmosphere. We're pretty far from that level of playoff contention, so we got to build ourselves up to get there.
I feel like that was the thing that got to our head, just, thinking about the last play too much, and, just learning that there's a lot of possessions throughout the game. It's a 48-minute game, and the ball's going to go back and forth from team to team, and, you just have to focus on when the next possession, the next defensive possession, or when you get the ball back. I feel like we're taking too much time thinking about what happened the other possession or the shot we took before. So, I feel like just, playing to the next play and, playing till the whistle's done. And, like I said, having a lot of talented guys on the team, you're never out of the game. So just playing till the whistle's playing till the game's done is definitely going to be a big thing for us. And, we're going to continue to do that.
All right, guys. So October 22nd, we got the Celtics tonight. That was a montage interlaid with some of the post-game interviews with all the misses from the first quarter. So what Nick Nurse is saying there, it was super frustrating for all of us to watch, but it's true. Like, there's something to be said for momentum and the contagion that is bad shooting, right? And bad spirits. So, and we saw that it can swing both ways. So in the bottom tier, I've gone through great pains to do everything from the third quarter on until that amazing offensive foul call on OG in the fourth. I'm going to do a separate video on this stuff where we take a look at it with some other post-game interview stuff from Nurse, Banton, and Freddie in a separate video. But I want to get this two-headed monster scouting video up first. So let's really quickly take a look at the Boston Celtics roster. Okay, so we got Tatum and Brown right off the bat, right? So two homegrown talents that they drafted, and these are the two guys that we need to be dealing with. Horford's injured, so we don't need to really worry about him. Marcus Smart, as you're going to see in some of the scouting videos, has been a great passer. He's obviously like a Kalo in terms of defense. Josh Richardson came over for Moses Brown in the offseason, and so he's a shooter. He's not necessarily playing tonight either. Hernan Gomez didn't see any time the other night against the Knicks. Schroeder can totally be abused. Here, I've got a little clip about just Schroeder that I'll play here. Schroeder looked awful. If we take away his space, he is a turnover magnet right now. He's just playing way too fast. I don't know what it is. And he's rough on defense too right now, it looks like. So he can be abused. Romeo Langford got some playing time over Pritchard. Expect maybe Pritchard tonight because Langford didn't look that good. Robert Williams III is like a key to their whole system this year, especially with Horford out early season. And then Grant Williams is a huge shooter. We'll take a look at him. The rest of the guys here didn't see any action the other night, but obviously we got Enes Kanter, Jabari Parker. These are all really good players that could contribute this year for the Celtics. And if those players do contribute, the Celtics will be a playoff team. One thing we got to remember, guys, is this idea that the Raptors are a playoff team is yet to be determined. And it's because the East is so bloody strong. There's so many teams. The only teams that I think are a lock for the playoffs, and you'll notice the absence of the Nets here, are the Bucks and the Hawks. The Nets, I think, will make the playoffs. Same with Philly, same with the Heat, all these guys. I think the top seven are pretty straightforward, and they include the Knicks, who played Boston the other night. They include shift everything outside the Hawks and the Bucks, depending on injuries and all of these things and teams gelling together. Every team in the East is massively improved, And maybe I'll do another video just showing you what I mean. We are not a lock for the playoffs this year. It is a competitive East, but if we can hover around 500, we might get there. Without further ado, let's get to the best scouting video I could find to show you what to expect from the Boston Celtics and how to deal with them. And it comes from one of the best defensive minds in the business in Tom Thibodeau, who played a double overtime game in New York against the Celtics the other night. It was an incredible one. If you have the ability to do it, don't go watch highlights. Go watch the whole game. It was an incredible game in New York the other night. Here's Tom Thibodeau on the Celtics.
They did a lot of switching, and so we wanted to do, more slip in, and we wanted to screen our own man. You need everyone to participate for that to work. If one guy's not doing their job, it's going to be choppy. Yeah, and we want to play that way. Got us going, got us into the open floor, which was good. The issue that you have with Boston is you've got two guys that are monsters, and so it's going to put a lot of pressure on you. I would have liked to have had Mitch out there more to anchor it, and I think, Taj would have been a big plus for us. And of course, if we have Nerlens, you're talking two elite rim protectors, and so that allows you to get more aggressive. But I thought Julius, we asked Julius to do a lot in that game, so he was chasing Brown around and guarding.
Okay, so Tibbs says the more length and shot blocking you have internally, and the more you take away space from Tatum and Brown, the better you do. Brown went off the charts with 46 points, but there was a lot of turnovers, and it's because, and I hate to say this out loud to Raptors fans, the Knicks are the benchmark for defense that we're looking to emulate. I know that sounds crazy, but they are. Thibodeau's made them into a total workhorse team. They are literally going crazy in transition. This is going to be the second game in a row that we play a new head coach. Brad Stevens is no longer the head coach of the Celtics. We got Ime Udoka, former player and assistant coach for the Spurs. If you didn't see the quote at the beginning of the video from Popovich on Udoka, here it is. Oftentimes I'll say, Imwe, can you go talk to Patty Mills? Go talk to Timmy Duncan. Go talk to Kawhi Leonard. He'll go and do it better than I would do it. And I'm not blowing smoke. He was most recently Brooklyn, and before that, I feel like he was Philly. I could be wrong there. You can check that. Anyhow, what can we gauge from his interview after the Knicks game? Whenever it became important, he went back to isolation plays. So let's take a look at what they did on offense from his own words here.
Times, but it did get stagnant. But we felt we had matchups, so we were doing a little bit of both. If I didn't like it, I tried to slow it down and get us into some of our movements. So played in the crowd a little bit too much at times. When we were talking about trusting our teammates, trust the pass. They're gonna crowd like we talked about, and we showed them on video before the game. So they forced some turnovers there, and we played with too many bodies. But the open looks were shots that he's not gonna miss. Try to make a few home run passes, thread the needle, especially in transition. I felt like we tried to make the home run pass and let them back in the game in the second quarter.
One thing that became abundantly clear: you better not leave Grant Williams open.
Out to Smart. Now to Grant Williams. He tries again. Trying to find the rhythm. Brown nearly knocked away. Kicks it out in the corner. Grant Williams puts it in. Grant Williams, his third three-pointer of the...
Aside from Williams' open threes, Tatum and Brown's solo efforts, the Celtics were pretty predictable, except for these amazing passes from Marcus Smart to Robert Williams III. Something to look out for. Okay, so where do we really struggle as a team? It's not dealing with that on defense. All we got to do is make sure we get back and build our own wall so that we can eliminate those lobs. Make sure we get out and take away space from those three-point shooters, which we actually did a good job about in the Wizards game. And taking away Tatum, Brown, Schroeder's space caused a ton of turnovers for the Knicks the other night. So where we struggle is offense until the fourth quarter. So we need to be able to get offense out of our defense. The good news, Boston struggles in this department. Let's take a look at Udoka's post game in regards to what the Knicks did to them in the ball.
Yeah, that was one of the points of emphasis that we showed on the film. Toppin gets probably one or two leak-outs a game, so we know he's a contestant fly guy. If you're not involved in the action, we want that weak side sprint back in transition. I mentioned before the game they're playing with much more pace, and that's a way to get him going in the game. So we showed that specifically on the tape before the game, him leaking out, and it did hurt us a few times. Some were turnover based, but then some were, just missed shots, not us not getting back in transition.
So he also addressed the top end leak outs by saying, like, hey, we got to have guys get back sooner, but it never happened. The Knicks abused them all night.
Just keep working on that, knowing if you're not in the play and you're not crashing, you're getting back and building that wall there.
Also spoke about one of their schemes, and that's to switch on certain situationals. He said it just wasn't working for them, and he wants it to be situational, like a guy like Kemba versus a guy like Derrick Rose.
Personnel based, a guy like Kemba and Fournier, we want him to be up higher than a guy like Derrick Rose or Barrett.
Who can't shoot. Those are the guys he wants to give space to and tempt them to shoot that three. Boston routinely used Robert Williams III and Jaylen Brown really effectively to be guarding the top guys for the Knicks, hence their stellar plus minuses. But beyond that, if it wasn't Brown or Williams III, it just didn't work. In fact, Randall abused Brown and Williams as well. Celtics' general lack of help was noticeable all night long. So here's a couple of things I found in general. The help was generally slow, and you could totally abuse their lack of height. So here, Toppin just abused them all night. I felt like they broke down the zone with this cross-court pass a lot, so there was a driving kick across the zone. I also ran this low-high brush screen to create up space for the three-point shot a few times, and it worked well. Again, just watch the little brush screen. Schroeder's late coming out, and Fournier just creates space with a step. And that was just a microcosm to these little high screens all night long for the Knicks.
Playing some huge minutes here in the opener and playing well. Kemba Walker finds some room. Three-pointer for Kemba Walker. Walker finds some room. Kemba Walker now.
Yeah, guys, those high screens worked well all night long, and you saw what Toppin did in terms of leaking out. That's something the Raptors can do really well. We have that kind of length all throughout our lineup. So the good news is Boston can be beat, and if we play like the fourth quarter, we got to play 48 minutes. But if we play that way, we can beat these teams. We are a challenging team this year. The question is, are we going to step up and play 48 minutes of basketball every night? And the good thing is we've got a really deep bench, and I think Nick Nurse will spend a little bit of time hovering around 500, hopefully. If we hover around 500, we're in striking distance. Once he figures out his lineups and whatnot, we'll be going for it. Enjoy the game tonight. I probably won't have a chance to scout the Mavs because I'm going to take the kids down to the Halloween haunt at Wonderland. So wish me luck there. Hopefully I don't embarrass myself. These are a new format for me, so I love your feedback in terms of like what I should do differently and the format here. If you're enjoying these, please do like and subscribe. Anyway, enjoy the games. Have a great weekend. And look for the Raptors video reviewing the fourth quarter. I'm going to release that hopefully later today as well. Have a wonderful weekend. And don't forget, guys, it is all about the Larry. Kawhi, you promised me we'd do TikToks or Roblox. Which one are you going to do?
I don't even know where you're sitting at.
That's bullshit, Kawhi. Your laugh is
This
stupid.
is Chef's Kiss approved. Mwah!